All right, so get this. We're diving into some seriously cool tech today, those sources you sent over,
Yeah.
including that announcement video about how ChatGPT is becoming like
That
part of the Apple world.
it's pretty huge.
It really is. And it kind of makes you think like, what does this integration actually mean for like us day to day?
Mm.
What can we do with it?
Well, at its core, this is about frictionless access to AI.
Hmm.
Apple wants ChatGPT to be readily available, like woven into the fabric of their devices, so you don't have to like constantly jump between apps or log in.
So no more like separate ChatGPT apps.
Exactly. Instead, it's becoming like a core part of how Apple devices function.
Gotcha.
And they're achieving this through like three main integrations. Siri,
Okay.
existing writing tools,
Hmm.
and get this,
Okay.
even camera control on the new iPhone 16.
Okay, hold on. Camera control. Yeah, that's where I need some explanation.
Okay, so imagine this. You're pointing your iPhone 16's camera at,
Uh-huh.
say, a landmark, a plant,
Right.
even a complicated piece of machinery.
I
ChatGPT, using what's called visual intelligence, can analyze what it sees and give you information in real time.
So it's not just recognizing an image, it's actually understanding what's in the image and providing context.
Precisely. The iPhone 16's new processor and AI chip make this real-time analysis possible. So ChatGPT can tell you about the history of that landmark, give you care instructions for that plant, or even explain how that machine works, all based on what the camera is seeing.
That's seriously a game changer. No more frantically Googling things while trying to look like you know what you're talking about. But I have to ask, how does this impact Siri?
Yeah.
I mean, Siri's already designed to answer questions.
Right, think of it this way. Siri is great for quick tasks and basic questions.
Hmm.
But when you need something requiring more research creativity
Hmm.
or complex understanding, Siri can now intelligently hand off the task to ChatGPT.
So Siri's like the first point of contact, and if it needs some heavy lifting, ChatGPT is the backup.
Exactly. It's a seamless transition for the user.
Yeah.
You just ask Siri, as you normally would, and ChatGPT kicks in behind the scenes if needed.
Okay, that's slick, but what about those existing writing tools you mentioned? Apple already had features for refining and summarizing text, right?
Right, but now imagine this. You're writing an email, a report, even a blog post, and you're stuck.
Uh-huh.
Instead of just refining what you've already written, ChatGPT can now help you compose entirely new content right within your Apple device.
Hold on. Composing entire documents from scratch?
Yeah.
That's a huge leap. What are the safeguards against misuse, though?
That's a great question, and it's one that developers are undoubtedly grappling with as this technology rolls out.
Yeah.
How to ensure this powerful tool is used responsibly
Hmm.
is a key concern.
It definitely feels like a whole new world is opening up.
Mm.
But before we get lost in all the what ifs, let's ground ourselves with some real world examples. You mentioned that the announcement video actually demonstrates these integrations, right?
They do, and the demos are quite insightful, especially in showing how effortless this integration can be.
Hmm.
One scenario shows how Siri, powered by ChatGPT, helps organize a Christmas party.
I'm picturing lots of tinsel and awkward office romances.
Not quite,
Okay.
but it does show how seamlessly ChatGPT can handle multiple requests and generate various content. For instance, they ask Siri to ask ChatGPT
Right.
to organize the party.
Mm.
Then boom, ChatGPT comes back with guest list ideas, music suggestions, even a playlist with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You and entertainment options.
So it's not just about finding information, it's about actual creative planning and execution.
Yeah,
That does sound like a huge time saver and probably cuts down on holiday stress too.
absolutely. And it highlights how ChatGPT can adapt to your preferences.
Oh, okay.
They specifically asked for that Mariah Carey song,
Right.
demonstrating how you can give ChatGPT very specific instructions,
Gotcha.
and it will do its best to incorporate them.
Interesting. So we're not just talking about AI doing like generic tasks. It can actually be personalized to your needs and tastes.
Precisely. And this personalized approach extends to the visual intelligence demo, too.
Ah, yes, the one with the Christmas sweaters. I'm guessing ChatGPT had strong opinions on those.
Well, it certainly demonstrated a capacity for nuanced analysis.
Okay.
The hosts point their iPhones at their sweaters,
Right.
and ChatGPT, instead of just identifying them as sweaters, actually ranks them based on a fun factor.
Uh-huh.
It even provides short descriptions to explain its reasoning.
Wait, so it's not just about pixels and colors. ChatGPT is actually making subjective judgments about fashion choices.
It is.
Yeah.
And it shows how AI can go beyond simply recognizing objects to understanding context and applying subjective criteria.
Wow.
Of course, how well it judges your fashion sense is another matter entirely.
That's where we might need to have a separate conversation, but I have to admit the whole trophy image ChatGPT created for the winning sweater was hilarious.
That touch of humor definitely shows that ChatGPT is designed to be engaging and interactive, not just a cold analytical machine.
Well, on that note, let's move on to the demo that actually chilled me out a bit.
Yeah.
The one where ChatGPT helped summarize a 49-page PDF on a Mac.
Ah, yes. A perfect example of how ChatGPT can be a powerhouse for both productivity and learning.
I mean, who actually has time to read through 49 pages of dense information these days?
Right.
Right.
ChatGPT can distill those pages down to the essential points, saving you time and effort. And it doesn't stop there.
Mm.
It can even generate visuals like pie charts based on complex data from that PDF.
So it's not just about summarizing the text. It's about understanding the information and presenting it in a way that's easier to digest.
Exactly. Imagine the implications for fields like research,
Right.
business analysis, even personal decision-making.
Oh, wow.
You could analyze financial reports, scientific papers, or even product reviews in a fraction of the time.
Okay, so we've gone from Siri to writing tools to camera control, and now we're talking about data visualization. It's starting to feel like ChatGPT is infiltrating every aspect of our digital lives.
It's a bold vision, that's for sure. And it's definitely sparking a lot of conversation about what it means for the future of technology and, frankly, society as a whole. But before we get too philosophical, I think it's time we take a closer look at some of those real-world implications you mentioned earlier.
Especially the ones that might make us hit the pause button and say, wait a minute, is this all really a good thing?
Exactly. Because with every leap forward in technology, there are always important questions to consider.
Well, on that note, we'll continue our deep dive in the next part of the episode. We'll be exploring some of the potential downsides of this integration, and we'll delve deeper into the implications for our digital lives.
Stay tuned because things are about to get very interesting. And as always, we want to hear your thoughts. What are your initial reactions to this news? Excited, apprehensive? A bit of both.
Let us know. We'll be back soon to unpack it all.
Welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah.
But as we discussed, it's crucial to consider,
Right.
the broader implications of weaving AI so deeply into our digital lives.
Right. I mean, the convenience factor is undeniable. But with that convenience come questions about what we might be giving up intentionally or not.
Absolutely. And one of the most pressing questions is about control.
Mm-hmm.
Who's really in control when AI starts making decisions for us?
Mm-hmm.
Take, for instance, that Christmas party scenario.
Yeah, ChatGPT came up with guest lists, music, even entertainment.
Right.
It seems harmless enough in that context.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder, like, where do we draw the line? Are we okay with AI dictating our choices, even for something as seemingly trivial as a party?
It's a slippery slope, isn't it?
Yeah.
What starts as convenience could potentially morph into over-reliance. We might become so accustomed to AI making decisions for us
Yeah.
that we stop exercising our own judgment or creativity.
So instead of ChatGPT being a tool to enhance our decision-making, it becomes the decision maker itself.
That's the concern, and it extends beyond party planning.
Right.
Think about how this could play out in more consequential areas, like financial planning, healthcare decisions, even career choices.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not careful, we could end up ceding control to algorithms without fully understanding the potential consequences.
It's almost like the classic sci-fi trope where the machines take over, but in a much more subtle and insidious way.
Exactly. It's not about a robot uprising.
Yeah.
It's about a gradual shift in power dynamics, where we become increasingly dependent on AI without necessarily realizing it.
Okay, so control is one big issue. What else should we be keeping an eye on?
Another key area is potential impact on human connection. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, it's worth considering how it might affect our interactions with each other.
You mean like, will we all just be sitting around staring at our devices, letting AI do all the talking for us?
It's not that extreme,
Okay.
but there are valid concerns about how AI might alter the dynamics of human communication. For example, if we're constantly relying on ChatGPT to compose our messages or emails, are we losing something in terms of personal expression
Yeah.
and authentic connection?
Interesting point. It's like the difference between a handwritten letter and a generic form email. One feels much more personal and meaningful than the other.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And while AI can certainly help us communicate more efficiently,
Right.
it's important to be mindful of how it might affect the quality and depth of our interactions.
So we need to make sure AI is enhancing our communication, not replacing it altogether.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Right.
between leveraging the efficiency of AI while preserving the richness of human connection.
It's like anything else. Technology can be a powerful tool, but it's up to us to use it wisely and responsibly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where these conversations are so important.
Yeah.
We need to be critically examining the implications of AI integration
Yeah.
and making conscious choices about how we want to incorporate it into our lives.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot to think about. As we move forward, it's clear that we need to be having these conversations not just among ourselves, but with the developers, the policymakers, and everyone who will be impacted by these advancements.
Agreed. We're all stakeholders in shaping the future of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crucial that we engage in open and honest dialogues about the potential benefits and risks.
On that note, I think it's time for us to shift gears a bit and explore another aspect of this integration that's been on my mind, the economic implications.
Ah, yes. The ripple effects of this technological shift are far-reaching.
Yeah.
And the economic landscape is certainly one area where we can expect to see significant changes.
I'm particularly curious about how this might impact jobs and the workforce as a whole. Will AI create new opportunities or lead to widespread displacement?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one that experts are grappling with as we speak. There's no easy answer,
Right.
as the impacts will likely vary across industries and job sectors.
It's almost like we're at a crossroads. Do we embrace the potential of AI to automate tasks and free up human workers for more creative and fulfilling roles? Or do we risk creating a scenario where AI becomes a job killer, displacing workers without providing viable alternatives?
It's a complex issue,
Yeah.
and it's one that we need to be approaching with nuance and careful consideration.
Right.
There are certainly valid concerns about the potential for AI to disrupt traditional job markets, particularly in sectors heavily reliant on repetitive tasks.
Like manufacturing, data entry, customer service. Those are all areas that could potentially see significant automation with the rise of AI.
Exactly. But it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay.
The integration of AI also presents exciting opportunities for job creation and innovation in new and emerging fields.
So while some jobs might be lost, others will be created. It's like a technological evolution with certain roles becoming obsolete as new ones emerge.
That's one way to look at it. For instance, we can expect to see growing demand for professionals skilled in AI development, data analysis, and AI ethics roles that are essential for managing and guiding this technological revolution.
So it's not necessarily about fearing AI, but rather adapting to it and preparing ourselves for the changing job market.
Precisely. It's about embracing lifelong learning, developing new skills, and being adaptable in the face of technological disruption.
Right.
The key is to be proactive rather than reactive in navigating this evolving landscape.
It's all about being informed, staying ahead of the curve, and understanding how these technological advancements will shape our future, both individually and collectively.
Well said. And that's what we're here to do, to unpack these complex issues,
Yeah.
to provide insights and perspectives, and to help you, our listeners, make sense of this rapidly changing world.
And speaking of making sense of things, there's another layer to this integration that we can't ignore: the societal implications.
Ah, yes, the potential impact of AI on our culture, our values, even our sense of self, is a fascinating and often overlooked aspect of this conversation.
It's one thing to talk about AI helping us plan parties or summarize documents,
Yeah.
but it's another thing entirely to consider how it might shape our understanding of what it means to be human.
You've hit the nail on the head. As AI becomes more sophisticated
Yeah.
and integrated into our lives,
Right.
it inevitably raises fundamental questions about our relationship with technology and its role in defining our identity.
Will we start to see ourselves as extensions of our devices, or will AI help us rediscover and appreciate our uniquely human qualities?
It's a question that philosophers and futurists have been pondering for decades, and there's no easy answer.
Right.
But it's a conversation that we need to be having as the lines between human and machine become increasingly blurred.
It's almost like we're entering a new era of human evolution,
Yeah.
one where technology plays a central role in shaping who we are and how we interact with the world around us.
It's an exciting and at times unsettling prospect,
Right.
but it's a journey that we're all embarking on together, and it's crucial that we approach it with both curiosity and caution.
Well, you've definitely given us a lot to ponder. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm left with a sense of both wonder and a healthy dose of apprehension.
That's a perfectly valid response, I'd say.
Yeah.
The integration of AI into our lives presents both immense opportunities and potential challenges.
And it's our responsibility to navigate this new landscape thoughtfully to ensure that AI serves humanity rather than the other way around.
On that note, we'll continue our exploration in the next part of the episode, where we'll delve in some specific examples of how this integration is already playing out in the real world, and we'll discuss what steps we can take to ensure a positive and beneficial future for AI.
So stay tuned. We're just getting started, and the conversation is far from over. In the meantime, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
What are your hopes and concerns about the integration of AI into our lives? Share your perspectives with us, and let's continue this crucial dialogue together.
Welcome back to the show. We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
The excitement, the possibilities,
Yeah.
and even some healthy skepticism about what it means to have AI so deeply woven into our lives.
Yeah, we've really only just scratched the surface. Seeing this integration play out in the real world, that's where it gets even more interesting.
Totally. I'm ready to hear some concrete examples of how this is actually impacting people.
Okay, so let's start with accessibility. One area where this integration is already making a difference is in making technology more accessible for people with disabilities.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can you give us an example?
So imagine someone who has difficulty typing or using a traditional mouse and keyboard.
Right.
With ChatGPT integrated into the operating system, they could use voice commands to do everything from writing documents to navigating the web.
So instead of being limited by physical barriers, they can leverage the power of AI to interact with technology in a way that works for them.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it's not just about physical disabilities. ChatGPT can also be a game changer for people with learning differences, helping them process information and communicate more effectively.
That's amazing. It sounds like this integration could be a real equalizer,
Yeah.
empowering people who might have previously been excluded from fully participating in the digital world.
It's a powerful example of how technology can be a force for inclusion and accessibility when designed thoughtfully.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what other societal challenges could we address with this kind of AI integration. The possibilities seem endless.
They really do.
Yeah.
And while it's easy to get caught up in the potential benefits, it's also crucial to acknowledge the ongoing debates and concerns surrounding AI.
Right, you're right. We can't just blindly embrace this technology without considering the ethical implications.
Yeah, one area that's generating a lot of discussion is the concept of AI bias.
I remember you mentioned this earlier. Can you explain a bit more about what that means and why it's a concern?
Of course.
Yeah.
So as we've discussed, ChatGPT learns from the data it's trained on. If that data reflects existing societal biases, for instance, gender or racial biases, those biases can inadvertently be reflected in ChatGPT's outputs.
So even though AI might seem objective, it can actually perpetuate the same biases that exist in the real world.
Exactly. And this is a serious issue because it could lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes, particularly in areas like hiring, lending, or even criminal justice.
Yeah, that's a sobering thought. It's a reminder that we need to be incredibly vigilant about how we develop and deploy these AI systems to ensure they're not reinforcing existing inequalities.
Absolutely. It's crucial that developers and policymakers work together to create ethical frameworks and guidelines for AI development and use.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the human values and principles that we embed in it.
Precisely. And it's an ongoing conversation as AI continues to evolve.
Yeah.
We need to constantly reevaluate and adjust our approach to ensure that it aligns with our societal goals and values.
It's a big responsibility, but it's one that we can't afford to ignore. Now, shifting gears a bit, I'm curious about what you see as the future of this integration. Where do you think we're headed?
It's hard to predict with certainty, but one thing is clear. This is just the beginning. As AI technology continues to advance, we can expect to see even deeper and more sophisticated integration into our lives.
So, what kind of things are we talking about? Give us a glimpse into your crystal ball.
Well, imagine a world where AI anticipates your needs before you even realize them.
Okay.
Your devices seamlessly connect and communicate with each other, creating a personalized, intuitive digital ecosystem that adapts to your preferences and habits.
It sounds almost like having a personal assistant, but one that's invisible and integrated into everything you do.
That's a great way to put it. AI could help you manage your schedule, automate routine tasks, provide personalized recommendations, and even learn your communication style to craft emails or messages on your behalf.
It all sounds incredibly convenient.
Yeah.
But again, that question of control comes back to mind. How do we ensure that we're not becoming overly reliant on AI to the point where we're losing our own autonomy?
It's a valid concern and one that we need to be mindful of as we move forward. The key is to view AI as a tool, not a replacement for human agency.
So it's about finding that balance between leveraging the power of AI while maintaining our own decision-making capabilities.
Exactly. And that's where education and critical thinking come in. The more we understand about AI, how it works, and its potential implications, the better equipped we'll be to make informed choices about how we want to integrate it into our lives.
It's about being empowered, not overwhelmed by these technological advancements.
Well said. And it's a journey that we're all on together.
Yeah.
This integration of ChatGPT into Apple devices is just one example of how AI is rapidly changing our world. It's been a fascinating deep
It
dive.
really has.
We've explored the possibilities,
Yeah,
considered the challenges, and hopefully sparked some thought-provoking questions along the way.
for sure. So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What do we want them to walk away with?
The key message is this: be informed, be engaged, and be curious. The future of AI is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in ensuring that it's a future that benefits humanity as a whole. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI and Apple. We'll see you next time.
See ya.